of 7:30. It's episode 75 of the Pavis Perspective, powered by Better Bytes Computers. As always, you'll know this off by heart now, but if you use any of the discount codes at the start of the video, mentions when you go in, you'll get discounts off refurbished computers or even computer repairs. So massive thank you to anyone that's joined us this evening. And I've got to say, George, how long ago does it feel like we last did a Pavis Perspective?
Too long. Way too long. It's been too long.
It has been too long. It feels like it's been a long time. It does feel like it's been a long time. A lot's happened. I'm just having a look when we last did our Pavis Perspective. 11 days ago. It was a Sunday night, wasn't it, before the Barnet game. Yeah. So, we've had Barnet since then, we've had Yeovil since then, and we've also had Southend since then. Yeah, massive. So let's see who we've got in with us tonight then. Charlie said he can't be here tonight, but he's going to watch it back. Evening to Ian, evening to Gary, Andrew, plenty of you tuning in. We've got to go back. We've got to go back to that. Well, go back to the Barnet game. Since the Barnet game, we've played Barnet in 2 more, and we've scored 4 in every single game we've played.
Yeah.
That's amazing. 12 goals, 3 games. We've looked good every single time.
Give us the title. Give it us now.
Too early to say that.
I know, I'm joking. No, but it's good. It's positive. I think Barnet's first half was just awful. It was really bad. We couldn't seem to even Matty Palmer didn't have a very good game. But then in the second half, we sort of completely flipped the game on its head. We've won 4-1. I couldn't quite believe it, to be honest. The amount we ended up scoring in the end, because I don't really think we were valued for it. But that's the difference between teams that sit in the playoffs and teams that get automatic. At this moment in time, we're doing everything right, aren't we? We really are. It's fascinating to see. And we've seen it. We've been here now in a similar position really for the last 3 or 4 years. But we're so good at the moment. There's no other way to really phrase it, in my opinion. We're just so good at the minute. I think it's 7 wins on the bounce now, isn't it? Yes. Which is impeccable. But I do have that shadow and doubt. You talk about it. These runs do have to come to an end. But the way we're playing and the way we just seem to be able to grind results out and score loads of goals, you just can't see when that's going to happen.
Yeah, let me just stop you there.
Stop me there.
Chris has said anyone else planning on watching the diving competition next Tuesday, Mullin versus Dobra. That does just remind me, George, we're doing a watch along for the game. I don't know if it's on TV. I don't know if you just have to buy it by the National League TV, but we're going to be doing a watch along live through the whole game on the channel. Obviously, for that game, we're going to be Chesterfield. We're going to have to want Chesterfield to win. We're going to have Chesterfield fans for that game, aren't we? Because really, of the games coming up, I know they're not in great form, and I see it's 6 without win for them now, drawing against teams like Wheelstone. But we're going to be watching that one, so that's 4 days' time. So join us for that if you want to. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, George, that Barnet game, that first half was awful. Of all the goals we've conceded this season as well, we've had a fair few mistakes. That's been the worst by a mile, that one.
Yeah.
You were away for that game, weren't you? So you watched that one?
I did, yeah. I watched that one.
Yeah. That game was that start of that game was that poor. Matty Palmer wasn't playing very well as well.
Yeah, that's so sad. It's when you got players like him not playing up to it, that the team aren't at it.
And then from the second half to then the full-time whistle on Tuesday against Southend, unbelievable. So I'll wait to talk about Southend in a minute because we'll get to that. But the Barnet game, they had that player on the wing. I keep forgetting his name. Carnu. It was Carnu. He was unbelievable. But as soon as he tired and we worked him out, were you surprised how quickly Barnet tired? I was gobsmacked.
Yeah, they really did. They seemed gassed around the half-time mark, really, didn't they? They really did. They tired so quickly, and I think that's where our fitness shone really, and that's why we sort of grew into the game a lot more. I think Barnet played really well, but in that first half, but they just couldn't keep that going for a full 90.
Yeah. And obviously the goal, they were just killed off by that. We then go to the Yeovil game. You'll have seen, if you watched the reaction to that Yeovil game, that I was just about to board a plane. And if my flight had taken off at the correct time, it would have been 1-1 when I was boarding that flight. It actually got delayed by an hour or so. So I managed to listen to us get the 3 goals. Again, didn't play very well. Did you watch Luke Williams' presser after Yeovil? It was the most downbeat I've seen him in a presser for a long time.
No, I didn't.
He was not happy. Really, really not happy. So I think that's good. You come away 4-1, a place you don't normally do well at, and your manager's really unhappy about it. That's good.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about Tuesday.
Best performance of the season, hands down.
Yeah.
Jody Jones, best right wing back in the league.
I agree. That's it. It's taking the crown. No, but to fill in at that position, and look, before that game, we were thinking, oh, we want to sign Jack Bridge, right? Jack Bridge was going up against an attacking midfielder / winger in Jody Jones, and he couldn't beat him. I thought there was one point, and this isn't a criticism really, there's very minor things to criticise. It was the away game against Chesterfield. Aaron Deman was backing off from a player coming into the box in a very similar position, Colclough, and he flashed it across the box. The amount of time we've seen Brindley back off as well. Jody Jones didn't back off, he just completely stood him up and then won the ball off him. I thought, for a player out of position, he could have won man of the match in my eyes. Did Matty Palm win it?
Yeah. I can't remember.
But Langstaff could have won it. Austin could have won it.
I think it was Matty Palmer. Yeah.
I think it was. Bostock, for me, was fantastic. So that performance was complete. They're not a bad side. I know they're going through things. They won 4 league games in a row before this. 6th in the league. Lowest team, 26 conceded all season, and we're in Feb. We talk about how many we've scored. They conceded 26. I know we conceded 30, but 26, and they're not at the top of the league. So I said it in the video, didn't I? How many times did I say to you, I messaged you separate from the video, and said I'm not confident. Something just didn't feel right. How do you feel? Because you were confident going into that game. How do you feel coming out of that game? Because you sort of said runs come to an end. We're going into the game very, very nervous about what was going to happen, and I've come out of the game now, and I genuinely feel like there was a point last season where all of a sudden for Stockport it went like that, and they were just going to beat everyone. Now I don't want this to come back and bite me, but I feel like that end of that Southend game was the point where we went like that, and that's it. The players believe now. You can't go and beat Southend 4-0 that comfortably. Not let them have a sniff until the second half. How do you feel now?
Jeff's made a good point here. He said maybe and hopefully the bad patch has just passed. I don't think we played well versus Barnet first half and Yeovil. And he goes on to talk about that. But that is a good point. I think performance-wise, that is probably a really good point because we've not been that good. And I think sometimes you do have to ride your luck. And the difference being we've just got a really clinical striker, haven't we now? We're sort of over talking about, last season we wouldn't have won that game last season, because the reality is there's a lot of games this season you feel like we wouldn't have won last season.
Yeah. Agreed.
But that is a good point. I do sort of feel like these runs do have to come to an end, but when you play bad and you still win 4-1, that's special. That is. There's no teams can do that really. Very, very few teams can do that. And you can say it's luck, which it probably is at times. It is, but I just think the quality that we have is it's a joke really. It's incredible.
The mentality as well. When you've not played well against Barnet first half and you win the game, right, and you think we've found a way to win there, and then you go to Yeovil and you've not played well and you win the game. Even if it's subconscious, as players, they've got to be thinking in their head now. Teams really don't know how to beat us. Like
No.
they throw everything at us. They
Yeah.
press us. We
Yeah.
even make a mistake, we still win the game 4-1.
It's like
Twice.
Williams has just got every area covered, hasn't he? He's
Mm.
very, very, he praises the players on their fitness, and he sort of emphasizes that fitness is the key, is the like the sort of the secret. He really pushes the players on their fitness levels and things like that. But there's also other things. We're not one dimensional at all. If we need to go long, we'll go long. If we need to pass it around, we'll pass it around. There's so many different dimensions to knots. And then if we are playing a certain way, we're playing the high press, we've got the fitness to play the high press. And then if we have to drop off a little bit, we can. And we're just so, like you sort of said, we're just so difficult to work out. And Williams just seems to have everything covered. Everything. If his tactical changes mid-game are so, they're sort of groundbreaking. Like they work every single time. Maybe once or twice they didn't, but throughout a season to have got it right as many times as Williams has, it's phenomenal. So as much as the players are doing fantastic, we have a great squad. I genuinely believe Williams could probably do what he's doing with Notts with a lot of teams in the National League. He's really, really fantastic. Great find by the owners. You got to give him all the credit.
Yeah, 100%. You had the sort of questions in our fan base, didn't you? Because we were playing so fast-paced, frantically pressing at the start of the season. You had questions in our fan base where we're sort of saying, like, is this going to, when we get to the business end of the season and you get your January's where you've got postponements in February when it's always busy, are we going to be able to play like this and keep this up? And there was a point where it was the little blip we had, like, was it at the end of November or something like that? And I suddenly thought they're not going to be able to keep this up for the season. Well, actually, after Saturday, I think there's only one Tuesday game left, maybe two. We're almost out of the Saturday-Tuesday cycle.
Yeah, you got Easter in there as well, haven't you? Where you got Friday, Monday.
Yeah. You've got that, which is obviously a little bit more difficult.
And who we got on the Monday? Wrexham.
Never heard of them. But you look at this. So we've got Dagenham on the 25th. You then all the way Bromley on the 4th. You then go to the 11th for Dorking. You then got your Tuesday game against Eastleigh and then away to Barnet on the 18th. Then it goes 25th, 1st, 7th and 10th, those two close together. And then the Saturday. Like, we're almost done. We're almost done for that hard patch. And Wrexham, because of the extra games they've played, theirs goes on a bit longer. They've got two. Now, I know it could go both ways because when you're in form, the players must woken up on Wednesday morning thinking, I want to play again. Or wake up on a Saturday thinking, I want to play Sunday. I know it can go both ways. But also, we couldn't, if it was Saturday, Tuesday for the rest of the season, we'd burn out, I think. And we're out of that patch. Most teams would burn out. Almost every team would. The way we play, especially, we're almost out of that patch.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Good.
I agree. The thing to add as well is Wrexham are having a real issue with injuries at the moment. So as much as they are in good form, and I do agree with you, when teams are playing well and their players just want to play that, like you say, the next day, I'd say sometimes they're wishing that they could maybe not be playing the next day so they could get a few bodies back in the squad. But I mean, it's not like they've not got the facilities to make reinforcements because they made one today, didn't they? But I don't know. It's absolutely crazy, I think, and I'm going to say this for the rest of the season because the level that Notts and Wrexham are playing at, and I know Wrexham have got loads of money, but still to perform to the level that they have, and I understand they've got these really, sort of, well, these players are League One players, 1 or 2 Championship level for Wrexham. So they really should be achieving it, but buying all the players and getting it's one thing, isn't it? But achieving it's completely different.
I saw
the level's just ridiculous.
I saw Wrexham's like a leaked document of Wrexham's transfer policy the other day, and it was.
Did you see that one of ours?
Well, I saw the one of Wrexham's where it was wait for Notts to sign a player, and we'll sign a player the same week.
I seen a Gateshead fan put Notts' transfer strategy, and it's like good Gateshead and Torquay players.
Yeah, on a Google search. Yeah.
yeah.
But Wrexham, I knew Wrexham would sign someone when we signed someone. They and they need reinforcements, but they just seem to do it. We did it with Bostock, didn't they? And then they signed someone.
Yeah.
And then we've done it now. We'll go into that sign in a minute. I want to jump back a second. You said about how good Williams is tactically. It can't go under the radar that second half, the whole game we dominated Southend, right? Second half, when the game was almost dead, they were still pressing. We finished with 7 central midfielders on the pitch. One of them was up front. The other one was at wing back. And we
2-7-1.
were still dominant. Yeah, but the thing is, it wasn't. We were just playing players out of position. Like, it was absolutely mind-blowing. You've got Ed Francis, barely played. He came on, didn't he? Am I dreaming that? He came on.
Yeah, he came on, yeah.
Yeah, barely played for the past, month. You've got just players playing here, there, and everywhere. And they're happy to do it. They're happy to come on. So I think I'm quite pessimistic when it comes to football. I always think runs are going to come to an end, or I always think the worst could happen. Like, I thought that Jack Bridge thing might get into the players' heads, but I thought Williams handled it really, really well. Apologized straight away.
Yeah.
But I'm finally, I actually can see it happening. Because, yes, it's annoying. Wrexham get 2 penalties. The second is probably a penalty. The first isn't a penalty. Mullins put a picture on Instagram. He's told someone to put a little bit of red paint on his leg so he can put a plaster on it. It's not a foul. It's annoying they get 2 penalties and they get a win and we get the win. But every time we match their result, we get closer to the end of the season. And we keep matching their result, matching their result, matching their result. And we're going to get closer and closer to the end. And all of a sudden, the pressure's going to ramp up on them. Still, we're on 83 points in Feb. And still, nobody cares about Notts. Yeah. No one is bothered. How on earth is no one bothered?
The crazy thing is as well, as it stands at the moment, it's literally in both teams' hands. Like, not one team has the advantage.
No, because we play them.
Yeah. So if they beat us, then it goes into their hands. I mean, when it gets to that point, it might be the margins might be different or whatever. But at this moment in time, both clubs have it in their hands. It is literally on them.
Yeah, and if Wrexham don't pick up maximum points, if they drop any points before they play us, and I'm not saying I would ever go to Wrexham with the mindset, and Luke Williams wouldn't let them. I'd never go to Wrexham with the mindset of play for a draw, and they wouldn't anyway because that's so dangerous. But if the end result was a draw, and Wrexham drop a point before the 10th of April, you literally have the scenario of Wrexham have to win. They have to win that game, whereas a draw suits Notts, and obviously a Notts win massively suits Notts.
Yeah.
So you've got a scenario there where you've got only a 33% for Wrexham, like a result, 33% result that actually helps them, or 66% that helps us. So I think Chesterfield could take something next week. I know they're not very good at the minute, but they are a good team. They are a good team, and you've got everyone scoring past Scunthorpe, didn't you? You've got everyone else scoring past Wrexham. I see Dobra, McCallum, Mandeville. They're good enough. So I think, Phil says 10th of April, winner takes all. It could be massive.
My God, can you imagine? Imagine winning that game, and it means what it means. What you just said.
I was thinking about that.
Imagine winning the title at Wrexham.
I was thinking about that. There's 9 points to play for after. I don't think the gap would ever be 9 points at that point, personally. But they have to go, and their fans are looking at it now, and they have to win every game of the season now, as do we. But we've got points on the board already. Their games in hand are Chesterfield and someone else a little bit further down the line, isn't it? Dagenham away, I think. Would not like that. Chesterfield at home, Dagenham away. Let's not forget.
They've got a good home record, to be fair.
They have. Let's not forget Chesterfield beat them early in the season as well.
Come on, Chesterfield.
Ooh, it's going to be so good. I won't enjoy that game on the 10th. I don't think I'll enjoy it afterwards, hopefully, but it's going to be one of those where it's going to be awful. I can't imagine the decisions that's going to go against Notts in that game.
Oh, no.
Oh well.
Barbaric.
Right. we'll stop looking ahead at that. Let's look at this new signing. I didn't expect a signing. It just came out of the blue.
No.
Rate that signing, George, out of 10 for you.
I'm saying like 8. Phenomenal. We talk about strategies. Of our last 2 signings, the strategy's just been sign a player that scored a hat-trick against you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What a strategy that is.
You could also say the strategy is sign players that aren't getting minutes.
Yeah.
And that are hungry and want to play.
Starving
for minutes. I mean, I've seen a lot of Stockport fans say they don't know why they signed him because he doesn't even fit their system. So that
but they were sort of like that last season. I thought like they obviously had some good players in there. But they seemed to sign a lot of players, good players, that they were just signing because they were good. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not really for system. Not really fitting into the system too much, but I mean, it's in the past.
Yeah. But I think it's also good to know that they've not just signed him and he's not playing because he's not very good. Like he just doesn't fit into the squad at the minute. Whilst we're talking about the signings, if you just want to have a look at the poll on today's video, it's do we need any more signings, yes or no? And it's fairly split at the minute. What do you think? Myself and George will tell you at the end. We might accidentally let it slip during this conversation. But do we need any more signings to the squad? Obviously, we brought Jody Jones in recently, and we've just brought in Lemon Evans. The hat-trick he scored against us last year, he ripped us apart on his own.
Yeah.
Really did. And there's always been a bit of banter, hasn't there, about him signing. And can we get
Agent Cam?
Agent Cam to bring him in, So where do you see him playing? Because he's very, very, I think the word everyone's used is versatile.
Great word.
Great word.
I mean, to be honest, looking at the squad and the bench the other day, I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing wing back.
On the left. I think he can play either side.
Potentially right.
Do you think Aaron the Man and Toby's done, isn't he, for a while? I think.
Yes.
Jody Jones obviously was good at wing back, but Luke Williams would want him further forward, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him though tomorrow. Do you?
Lemon Evans. I think we'll see him on the bench.
I think we'll see him on the bench, but I don't think we'll see him start.
Oh, I would be shocked if he started.
Yeah,
he hasn't played a minute for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But our bench against Southend, when people were saying, we've won 4-0, it doesn't matter if it's weak, it was a weak bench. We could only bring midfielders on. Lemon Evans hasn't played a minute since the 8th, but when he played 21 minutes on the 8th of Jan. So he's nowhere near match fit. But yeah, bring him on for a sub 70th minute. I would take that. That's a good time to bring him on. Jess says Jones wasted at wing back for me. Has to be further forward. Yeah,
I disagree.
I think further forward's good, but I think wasted at wing back. I think there was no option. We had to play him at wing back. I think.
I don't think you can be wasted at wing back if you play to the level that Jody did on.
Mac would be wasted at wing back.
Yeah, obviously, but if you put in the performance that Jody did on Tuesday, you're not wasted at wing back because he was providing, he's making things happen. And defensively, I was so impressed because that's where I thought he'd fall a bit short, but he just didn't. He really stood up to that test. So I mean, I don't know. I don't really know where he fits in, to be honest.
I remember looking at the board, and I only remember this because of the exact time I looked at it. It was 26 minutes into the game, and Jones was still with his hands on his hips, blowing. He was tired. He was really tired. I didn't think he'll make it. He got to, what did he get to? 65, 70th minute? And he still kept going. And then second half, I'd seen something I'd not seen from him. I'd seen pace. Like, pace. He knocked it past his man, put a couple of crosses in. But anyone that plays in that wing-back position is so different. You've got Jones, who will always cut back, and maybe he does like 1, 2, 3 different cutbacks. Defender doesn't know where he is. You've got Aaron the Man, who's just going to knock it past you and run. Same with Toby. So we're good in those positions. Like Chris says, our wing-backs do very little defending. yeah, they don't do a mass amount, do we? We don't actually defend that much, because when we concede, it's our own fault anyway. So there we go. We have to talk about, because someone's put in here that Sam Austin should stay in the squad for me. Can you drop Sam Austin?
No.
Absolutely no way.
Guy's a joke. Every time he starts, he does something, doesn't he? Assist or a goal. He's a joke. He's so good. And he's sort of one of those forgotten players, I think. Not forgotten, but when you think about your lineup, you struggle to see where he fits in, and it's not a talent issue. I don't think. I think it is just fitting him in, because you've got the likes of Ruben, you've got Scott, you've got Langstaff that you can't really drop. Can you play him in the midfield too?
No.
You got to look at Bostock, the way Bostock played on Tuesday. You got to look at Palmer. He's undroppable for me. So it's really hard to fit in, but it's amazing to see someone like Austin on the bench. I think someone that comes in, and every single time that he comes in, he does a job every time without fail.
He'd be wasted in the midfield too, though, because he wouldn't be able to get forward as much as he likes.
Yeah. In saying that, though, I was impressed with Bostock on Tuesday, because he played a bit more advanced than what we're used to seeing. And he gets 2 assists, and the one for Austin's goal, the header was beautiful.
It was. I mean, we're kind of talking about the team here, but there's a lot of comments coming in which are really good comments. Phil still feels sorry for Kedwin if Austin takes his place. Yeah, but I can't see any way that Austin is dropped. He scores his first 2 goals in the league, and he was so good. So good. Carl says I wouldn't change the starting 11 after Tuesday, but then you've got the thing of, if Aaron Neman's ready, would you be confident in playing Jody Jones at wing back over Aaron Neman? And then does that leave Jody Jones out of the squad? Chris, with the attacking midfielders we now have, does Scott get in the team, or is he Macca's backup? It's unbelievable we're even talking about Scott struggling to get back in the squad. So good. So good. Is that right? Chris says 5 assists in 2 games for Bostock. He got 2. He got both of Austin's assists. And did he get 3 against Yeovil?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm not sure. But there's a lot there, isn't there? There's a lot there. Phil, fantastic. With a small squad, there is such fantastic competition. Yeah, it's really, really good. John, really appreciate that. Thank you, John. Massively appreciate that. Just every little bit helps us out with our streams. So, yeah, we both massively appreciate that. Stuart, what assist did he have at Yeovil? I can't remember. I just listened to the game, didn't actually see it. Didn't see it. Right, let's look at Dagenham then. Tricky side. 10th in the league. 5 points off the playoffs. It's now or never really for Dagenham. They need to start pushing up there. They have one player for me that I worry about, and I think you're going to know who I'm going to say. Ini Effiong.
Paul McCallum. Oh.
Paul McCallum. He's gone. He went 6 months ago. No, but Ini Effiong is a handful. And I feel like if Richard Brindley played, Ini Effiong would be stuck to him like glue. That would be their plan. But Richard Brindley isn't going to play. And I feel like we might be able to deal with him. Good player. He had a rest on Tuesday because when Aldershot sold him, they said he can't play against them. So he had his rest on Tuesday. But Phil says a thorn in Notts side. That's the old Notts.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Confident.
Yeah. He's not like he had when he played for Woking. That comes back to me, but other than that, I don't really think he played for us, didn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't that good.
He wasn't good for us, was he? But then I'm looking back. So for us, he had 1 goal in 12. Then he went to Woking and got 13 in his season for Woking. Then he got 14 in 30 for Aldershot, and he's got 2 in 4 for Dagenham, but both of those came in the same game.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think 2 of the 13 for Woking were against us as well, weren't they?
Yeah, in that horror show.
Yeah, so it's not bad, is it? But it's not amazing.
I've seen a lot of their fans not happy with Dagenham defensively. Now they've let in 52. I'm just looking. Barnet have let in 53, but they shipped those 7 in one game against Wrexham and then 4 against us. It sort of balances out a little bit. 52. You have to go down to Altrincham in 13th to find anyone that's conceded that many. You've even got Halifax down there, Maidenhead, Oldham, York, Yeovil. I mean, Gateshead in the bottom 3 haven't even conceded as many as Dagenham. So they score a few, but they also concede a few. If we look at the form table, our form table, obviously we're doing really, really well with that. But if you look at the form table over the past 30 points available, we've picked up 26. Dagenham have picked up 10 from 30. Really, it's really not very good. Really not very good. Dog says another 4 goals or more incoming Saturday. I do hope so. If we look at the head-to-head, what do you make of these results then, George, for Dagenham? So they beat Aldershot 2-1. What do you make of that? Dagenham were at home. I think that's an all right result.
Yeah, it's all right.
They lost 3-2 at Scunthorpe.
Poor. When?
Even with 18th. So with the rejig side.
Yeah, I mean, not terrible, but it's not great.
Lost 1-0 at home to Eastleigh.
Poor.
I mean, if I look at Eastleigh's away form is not fantastic. I'll go for a couple more of the recent 5. Beat Solihull 2-1. Solihull weren't doing that well. Then these stick out for me big time. They lost 4-2 to Oldham. They lost 1-0 to Wealdstone, and they lost 2-0 to Yeovil. They're not very good results, are they?
They're not.
And I know they're in the past. They lost 2-0 at home to Maidenhead. I know they're coming to us. Phil, Darren McMahon said there's a lack of spine, has embarrassed him, and other times have been brilliant. First goal counts. Yeah, get that early goal and just bombard them. Bombard them. That's what I'm thinking. We're at home. We've not got the best home form compared to away form. Away form's crazy. But the home form is starting to creep up there now as well.
Yeah.
There's a few comments here, George. Well, I'll go to this one. Grimbo, I'm not sure who you support. Let us know who you support. I know you just said you wanted to go up over Wrexham. Will Langstaff be a county player if you go up? 100%, I think. 99%, I think.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
There'd have to be a massive offer. Grimsby. Fair enough. Love that playoff leg against Wrexham you had last year. I think Macca stays. I think if we don't go up, I'd give you my house for free, George, if he was still here, if we didn't go up. There's no way, is there?
I'm going to write that down somewhere.
Yeah, you've got it here. Verbal agreement.
Yeah, verbal agreement. Yeah, so I'll tell you. If we don't go up, I'll have your house. Yeah, so.
Yeah. He won't be here. He won't be here, though, will he, if we don't go up? Let's be honest.
Who knows? Literally, who knows? I think the Knots have a big appeal because of the way that they do things, and it's well run, and there's a lot of respect. I think at Notts County, good facilities. So I think even if you was to go to a League Two club, I think it'd have to be, a side really going for promotion.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm going to put this picture in your head. I can't see it happening, but we get to 4:45 tomorrow. No, let's say 5-5 because Wrexham will have extra time in their game. And Dorking have taken points off Wrexham. I don't think that'll happen. Have you seen how many Dorking have conceded this season?
I haven't.
73 goals.
That's all right, to be fair.
It's all right. It's not bad, is it? How big does that 90 minutes at 5:20 then become? I'm not exaggerating here. If Dorking will not win at Wrexham. They will not win at Wrexham. They won't draw at Wrexham. But let's say they did. Does that Dagenham game become season defining?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they hadn't have scored late against Aldershot to win it in the 96th minute, I think we'll be in a way different position now. I can't see anything other than a Wrexham win tomorrow.
No,
They might concede a couple, but you're not going to Wrexham and not conceding at least 3 goals if you've conceded 73 all season.
It's a free hit for Dorking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but can't see it. I mean, they scored 47. That's pretty good. It's the highest. It's the highest in the bottom, second highest in the bottom half of the table. But for me, that they win that. Jeff, think Wrexham are struggling under pressure. I don't know. I don't know if it's injuries or that.
No, I don't think they're struggling under pressure. I don't think they are the type of players that struggle under pressure, to be honest.
No.
Nor manager, to be fair.
But I do think that could come into play the closer we get to the end of the season.
Big time, yeah. That's when you find out character and things like that. You know, the last few games, let's say Notts need 4 points on the last 2 to get promotion. That's when you find out, don't you?
I was thinking this. Can you imagine if it got to the last game of the season and we just needed to beat York? Just a win at York would guarantee the league or something like that. I thought to myself, I think it was today, I couldn't guarantee that we could get that. Nothing to play for York, chance to ruin like a party or something like that, promotion party. Pressure, and I don't think, I will say this about this Notts side, when we're under pressure, and you talked about luck at the start of the season, when we're under pressure, I don't know how we're going to handle it. We were under things. Few things spring to mind. Under pressure in the first half against Barnet. Barnet could have had 2 or 3. Under pressure, Oldham away. I think Oldham hit the bar in the last minute, or they fired it very close over the bar. We were really struggling. I feel like the old Notts would have had 20 minutes of just head loss. Do you remember the end of the Grimsby game? We were just chasing shadows. I feel like this Notts have 5 minutes of head loss. Like, we're susceptible to the pressure, as are Wrexham, but we're not. Just because we're winning these games, we weren't. When Yeovil scored, they then had a 10-minute spell all over us, and we regained it. We're not immune to it. So I think there will be one shocking result for Notts at least at the end of the season, towards the end of the season, and one shocking result for Wrexham as well. I think. Yeah. We'll lose something stupid like Altrincham away or something.
I think one thing that goes in our favour as well is we literally have Langstaff and Scott that have just had promotion.
Yeah.
So you've got players that you know can play under that pressure, and I think that helps the squad. And what an achievement that would be, back-to-back promotion.
Yeah.
For the players.
I then think, imagine going into these big last final 3 or 4 games, and you've got John Bostock in the dressing room with you.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. You've got Jody Jones, really good player. You've got Jim O'Brien in there, Sam Slocum. I think the mix is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Grimbo, it's definitely Wrexham and Notts going up miles ahead of other teams. You say that, but can you imagine missing out on that automatic place and then having to go through the playoffs 2 games? I know you'd have one at home.
I'm in 2 minds about that though. I really am. Like I feel like either team, whoever doesn't get the first spot this season, fair play, because you should have really got promotion automatically. Yeah. Any other season, whether it be Notts, whether it be Wrexham, you've really got to applaud yourself for how well you have done and how far you've pushed the team that have got the automatic spot. So I don't think, as much as I understand, and I was a big believer in this way of thinking where, you know, you'd be downbeat, come in second, you've just missed out on first spot, but you've won that many games this season. You're 2 wins away from achieving what you were set out to achieve anyway. So what's the difference?
I think there's genuinely
it's all about mentality.
There's 10 different ways you could look at it.
Yeah, 100%.
I think you could, if I was say, I don't know who could sneak into that playoff spot, Southend or anyone, even the teams would beat Barnet. And my first thing is that I would say if I was playing Wrexham or Notts in the playoffs, I'd say something like, look, these are literally wounded. They've got 105 points. They've not got promoted. Their fans are going to be so nervous, get a goal, and pressure will get to them. But there's so many ways you can look at it. You could then, Notts or Wrexham could just go mad and win 3 or 4-0 in the first leg. Like we've just seen, scored 4 goals against 2 playoff chasing sides. It's hard. It's really hard, but does it feel to you like we're like 5 games away from the end, but we're not? We're like 12.
Yeah. There's a long way to go. Yeah, I mean,
So much pressure.
when you look at it in terms of time, it's not a lot. You know, it's
No,
basically. I mean, what we're into March on Wednesday,
it's just over.
and
It's
then
basically 2 months.
it's 2 months. That's nothing.
Yeah,
That I mean, it feels like 5 minutes ago it's Christmas. So it's 2 months ago.
yeah,
So that's how
exactly.
quick the time goes, and that's how quickly those games will approach. And that's that Easter weekend. I can't wait for it.
It's gonna be good, isn't it? It's gonna be really good.
It's gonna be great.
Before we go into our team news, I just want to highlight one thing I've already said and one thing you might have noticed on our Twitter as well. So if you just joined us, we are going to be doing a watch along live on the channel. It'll be about 2.5 hours long. Pop in, see what's going on in the Wrexham Chesterfield game. We'll obviously be rooting for Chesterfield to take points in that one. So join us for that. That's on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday night, we will be uploading a video with the owners, not owners, which we're massively excited to bring you. Keep an eye on our social media, so Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, because on Monday night we're going to be taking your questions to put to the owners. I want to give as many as possible for you to ask the Reeds brothers. So keep an eye on those. Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday back with the Pavis perspective. So a very, very busy week as the season ramps up. Busy week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There we go. Very busy. Let's go to team news then, George. I'm going to make it so simple. So simple. For me, unchanged side. If Aaron Neman's fit, the only change then is Neman in for Jody Jones.
Disagree. I'd keep it exactly the same, regardless. The only thing I'd say is perhaps, like you've already said, bring a Lemon on for 15-20 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to predict the bench. You ready for this? Watch.
Oh my God. What's he doing?
Lemon Evans, Jim O'Brien, Kevin Scott, Jody Jones.
Got it wrong already.
Joel Taylor.
No, Joel Taylor won't be on the bench.
He will. We're not going to have the fitness just yet. We're not going to have fitness just yet.
Okay.
Do you want to do the poll?
Let's do the poll. Let's work the poll. Right. Do we need any more signings? It's quite close, this one.
It's close.
I like a close vote. 56% say yes. 44% obviously say no. Tom, come on, tell me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Take off Taylor. Badger will be fit for the bench. Sorry about that.
There we go, Tom.
Do we need any more signings? No.
Okay.
For me, we're done. Lemon Evans can play on the left, on the right, behind the striker. If Ruben's playing up front, Lemon Evans could pop in up front. He could play in the middle. He could play in goal. He could play centre back. You know, we've got players coming back from injury. I think we're done. I think we're sorted.
Yeah, I agree. I'm no as well. I think one thing that I mean, this is sort of still on topic, but not at the same time. You know, I think it was Slater was asking Williams about injuries, and he just doesn't give a time frame. I love that. It's so vague. It's Kedwin Scott. He'll be back soon. Neme will be back in the very near future. And there's someone else. He's going to be out for a little bit longer. There's no time frame. And I love that because you're keeping the opposition guessing. Keeping us guessing. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's you can't now. If you said, "Oh, yeah, Scott will be back for Saturday," all of a sudden, Dagenham, they know. Yeah, you're bang on. Scott was in the training vids. Yeah, he was, and that might be deliberate. I mean, there's going to be someone from Dagenham looking at training vids. Surely, Scott might have no opportunity. There might be no chance for Scott to play, but they say, "Yeah, I know he's on the pitch, but he's not going to play the game. Just put him in the training videos." You know, there's all the opportunities there. Right, George.
Tom.
George.
Tom.
Score prediction, George.
Right, there's a pattern emerging now of Notts. We score 4 goals every time.
Oh, are you sure?
So for that reason, I'm going to have to go 2-1 Notts.
Yeah. Who's scoring for Notts?
Langstaff and Ruben.
3-1 Notts. F Young for them. Langstaff, double, and the Lemon.
The Lemon.
The Lemon off the bench, diving header, 86th minute.
Precision.
Right. Put your score predictions in. I'm going to go early. with Phil, 7-0 Notts. That would be some statement of intent. But Phil, I'm going to have to say, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't be going with that. 5-2, Langstaff 2, Austin, Ruben and Jones. Callum, 4-0, Chicks and Hat-trick and Langstaff. I was thinking about this, Callum, when you say Chicks and Hat-trick every week and then he got the 2 against Weirstone. That would have been unbelievable. I would have said there's no chance he ever gets hat-trick, but there we go. Ellie, 3-0, Macca times 2 and Jones. We've got a 3-0, Macca times 2 and Cameron. Has Cameron scored this season?
Yes. One, I think.
It was at Meadow Lane, wasn't it? I think it wasn't that long ago.
So.
Oh, was that in the... Yeah, he did. He did. Daggers are going to be Barnet this season, 6-1 Notts. Macca times 3, Austin, Ruben and Jones. I think 3-1 Notts 2. Just keep the 4 goals theme. Macca times 2 and Ruben penalty. We've got a 3-0, Erling Langstaff, good player. We've got a 5-0. I forgot we won 5-0 there. We've got 3 for Ruben. We've got a 4-1. I'll go for 2 more. We've got Carl saying 4-1, Macca, hat-trick and Jones. And then we'll go for Andrews, 5-1 Notts, Macca, hat-trick, Ruben and Chickson. I'm just thinking, George, you know, if these come remotely true and we score 3 or 4 again, what a statement. Because before we finish, and I've got this to jog my memory, let's just talk. We're on a 7-game winning run, right? Let's just talk about this 7-game winning run.
Go on.
Halifax at home.
Yeah.
Fair enough, not too dark.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
We went away to Solihull and won. We went away to Torquay and won.
Yep,
we went away to Chesterfield and won. Then we beat the most informed team, Barnet, by 3 goals. We then went away to Yeovil and won, and we won against Southend at home.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is easy. We played Dagenham and then Bromley. Bromley away is going to be hard. But then we have like Dorking, Scunthorpe, Altrincham, Wealdstone still to go. We're just ticking them off 1 game at a time, aren't we? 1 game
exactly.
At a time.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Don't forget, tomorrow's game is a 20 past 5 kickoff. It is live on BT Sport. So we will know the Wrexham Dorking result before then. As we've already said, both of us fully expect it to be a comprehensive Wrexham win. And who doesn't? They seem to do it all the time. So it's just going to put more pressure back on us. But at the minute, we're in fantastic form. If you are going to the game tomorrow, safe travels, enjoy it. If you're watching it on TV, comment on our video after the game. Let us know what you think. As always, massive numbers, especially for Friday night. It was short notice. We changed it, so really appreciate that. Please do subscribe as we are growing that subscriber count towards the end of the season. It means we can bring you better content. And as always, really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and comment anything else on the video.